Hi, I'm Mark, poet with guitar, and I'm from Washington, D.C., and I'm joined tonight, as every week, with three other poets from the Poetry Global Network, four poets who discuss a poem. And we have differing opinions, which is wonderful, and we want your opinion as well. It's a poem we've never seen, and we just give it our best, and it's an interesting way of interpreting a poem. Marissa.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Marissa. I'm a poet, spoken word artist, and publisher in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Please make sure that you're using the chat. Put questions, comments, anything you'd like to say in the chat. We love interacting with you during our show. Lawin.
Hey everyone, I'm Lawin from Manila, and I have a robot.
I have a robot too, but it's not that big.
Yeah. Hey. That's what she said.
We'll tell Mark about that later.
I am from Manila, and this is the Poets Reacts, which if you haven't subscribed to on YouTube, please do so now, because that helps us feel better about ourselves, and it should give you a pretty good thing to do on times like these. Also, do like us on our other assets, Facebook, Instagram, and the works. And hey, Kemlyn's here. Hey, Cam.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kemlyn, and I am your Singapore, Arizona connection. I am a multidisciplinary artist, and I am so excited about our poem for today. So without further ado, please send in the poem. If my time has come, I don't want anyone to beg, not even you. I don't need that sniveling. I'm but a wild animal, exiled even from his own group. Even if bullets pierce my skin, I will still enrage and attack. Wounds and poison I'll take running until the pain leaves, and I will care even less. I want to live 1,000 more years. You know what? I'm going to ask that we have a second read for that one because it's so short. I think it's worth a second read.
Who do you want to do the second read?
Mark, would you take the second read?
Sure. You want to put it on the screen again?
Because he's such a wild animal.
That's always there.
If my time has come, I don't want anyone to beg, not even you. I don't need that sniveling. But I'm a wild animal, exiled from his own group. Even if bullets pierce my skin, I will still enrage and attack. Wounds and poison I'll take running until the pain leaves. And I will care even less. I want to live 1,000 more years.
It seems like someone who's maybe just been told they have cancer. I mean, and I don't really mean that I mean that in a semi-humorous way, but I feel like it's defensive and offensive, and it's talking about death, but then it's saying, I want to live. It's someone who's incredibly torn between two worlds, who wants to fight, but also who wants to have immortality. And I think they find their immortality on the page. But who feels, the use of poison, and being an animal who's been exiled, and, they'll take on bullets. Basically, they'll allow something to kill it, but it won't, die. Wounds and poison. I feel a lot of grief, a lot of pain, like someone who's really just in turmoil, trying to struggle with their legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good death poem.
Mm-hmm.
It's very singularly focused about this rage about our animal instinct and our reaction to survival. And we don't, I don't want any sniveling. I'm just a wild animal. And
I want everyone to cry when I die.
And
like, I want to
live.
Cry,
I want to live it, and screw all that Buddhist stuff. I want to live 1,000 years.
Screw all the Buddhist stuff.
and like I get it. I mean, there are
But we're
times.
not saying screw Buddhists or Buddhism.
No,
we're
I
not
mean another
saying
way.
that
No,
we
but
love everyone. Okay, let's
no,
say we love everyone.
not in
Right?
a pejorative sense, but I mean like that. I understand. I understand that feeling. And it's like it's an animal instinct that comes from us. And no matter how much you can say you're not frightened of death. I saw a great line in a movie called the other day about Sufis, in which the old man was telling somebody why you're scared of death, why you're scared of something that ends that never began. Right? It's a wonderful kind of a twist. But in terms of our fear of death, I mean, it's so deep that even Krishnamurti, okay, in his ending diary, in the last days of his life, had doubts about everything in his life because the power of survival is so strong. And then he overcame it, with his intellect. But
Yep.
here, this is not about intellect. This is about raw passion, and I think on that level, it's very successful. Though it's a little bit one-dimensional.
Don't you think it's interesting how every other human who has ever existed has also experienced death who's not alive? And yet we still have this raging fear need to continue. I felt very
I
torn.
think
I
it's
don't know.
I
Anyway,
think
Lawin.
I think it's one of the important parts of being human. Yeah, the whole wanting to cling on to life. Uh, so I do like the poem. Okay, I like the spirit behind it. Uh, I like this whole the fighting spirit that it embodies. I like it. I am distracted by a few things which I feel could have been more precise, like that whole was that I'm but a wild animal exiled even from his own group. I mean, is it a pride? Is it a flock? Is it a herd? Is it a murder of crows? There are so many other, and there are ways to have made this again more picturesque. So for me, like the
Yes.
spirit is great. The spirit is great, all for it. But I sort of want more.
Absolutely. There should be
And
more energy.
I tend to disagree. I'm going to disagree with you, Lawin, but here's mine. What I like is the opportunity to interpret and picture what kind of wild totem animal I have. When I'm facing my death, what
Wait,
would
don't
I
say
look
what
like?
the animal is yet. Don't say what the animal is yet. Wait, let's do this. Let's do something fun real quick because we got some time. Everyone, think about what you think the animal is that this poet is. What is the animal? We're gonna say it on 3. Okay, so think about what kind of animal the poet is. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Wolf.
Elephant.
Rhino.
Wolf.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Kemlyn, what did you think the animal
Wolf.
was?
A
A
wolf.
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 And
Yeah,
Mark?
Wolf.
You
Mark and I
both thought
share.
a wolf? Really?
Yep.
Kemlyn,
Yeah,
you
there's
thought
a
a
wolf.
Lawin thought a rhino. I thought an elephant, right?
The wolf.
Because
the
elephants
wolf-
will
See,
exile dead.
I'm
dead
especially
and dying.
I get especially involved if you say if it's a wolf, then it should have been a pack. It should have. I mean, it's
Yes. Yes. Now they will still exile their own who are sick, injured, or aching. But bullets pierce my skin. I will still enrage and attack. Most wolves won't. If they're hurting, they'll run off. They won't necessarily turn into the predator, even though they're apex. Elephants will absolutely attack and defend their herd, especially babies, even when they're bleeding, dying. They fight to the death, and they're incredibly intelligent. And of course, wounds and poison. You think about poaching. For
Do we all agree it's a 20th century poem? Not only because of
Yeah.
bullets.
Well, bullets.
Wouldn't.
Yeah,
but
bullets.
wouldn't. Therefore, it's not written by somebody in ancient China. So it's right. So we know it's.
But we still love Buddhists. We're just saying that.
No,
We love everyone here.
No, I think that's the intent
Do
of
not
the
be
poem,
Fishbein.
not my own personal intent, but like that. Yeah, I mean, but the form of the poem was obviously very modern with the way
It could be
placed
Asian
out.
though. It could be an Asian poet because, I want to live 1,000 years, and 1,000 is very, like when you wish an emperor long life, it's always 1,000 or 10,000 years. So it could possibly be.
Plus the pain leaving, the transcendence, right? That's also very Eastern philosophy.
Yeah,
Transcendence after death.
Yeah, I agree with Kemlyn. I don't think 1,000 years is enough, really. I mean, if you're into that kind of mood, why 1,000? I mean,
Gee, Mark, why not 1,000,000?
No,
what are we
exactly.
talking about
You're in that you don't
Mark
really.
wants to live forever.
It's not like I'll worry about it in
increasing
1,000 years.
vessel.
You just don't want to die. And it's interesting. This poem is. I mean, it's certainly right to the point. I don't need that sniveling.
I do. I do like that, but it kind of came. That's what I was saying. It sounded to me like someone who was just like getting delivered bad news, and they're kind of working through their grief in 10 lines or less. 19. Okay, sorry, Kemlyn. Do you want to read who the poet is?
Okay, the poet is Chairil Anwar. See, Indonesia, 1943. It's called.
Wait, you gotta get the year.
1943.
1943.
And what does aku mean? Let's see what animal that
poem?
is.
Maybe short poem or abbreviated because it's short.
Well, it's a good poem, and he does use
Bahasa Indonesia.
The poet does use that device at the end, that last line, which, like he's setting up the poem to get craft-wise. He's setting up the poem for that last line. I want to live 1,000 years, and I will even care less. I want to live 1,000 years. It's a shift away from all that, from all which came before, which was more like a rage.
It could even be almost like a contrapuntal, or even if you were to take the second part and put it on the first, it would blend nicely. So if you started out saying, I want to live 1,000 more years. If my time has come, I don't want anyone, so you could recirculate that poem, the ending to the beginning.
I'd like to find out from Sayaka if this is a translation.
Probably.
From Bahasa.
Yeah, from Bahasa. And aku, it says me, but it can also be translated as I am. So I am a wild animal. Yeah.
By putting the one I'm sorry, please finish.
I was going to say that it leaves, once again, the poet's intent probably is to leave that animal obscure so that we do insert ourselves and our imagination. And one of the things that I wanted to say was when I first heard the poem, it sounded like, the silver swan, and when living had no note, when death approached, unlocked her silent throat, leaning her death against the reedy shore. All things once, and so the swan just cries. The swan never ever says one note until the swan dies, and this is the death note.
Yeah. So I was just going to talk about the exclamation point. The exclamation point there. The exclamation point in what we presented is in the first stanza. I don't need that sniveling. But if you put that one exclamation point at the bottom of the poem, I want to live 1,000 years. I want to live 1,000 more years. Changes the whole poem.
Or if you're Mark Fishbein and you want like 1,000,000 years.
Well, whatever. But do you want the exclamation point at the end? Because if you put the exclamation point at the end, it all of a sudden becomes, it almost sounds very ancient Chinese.
Maybe it's just the way you read it. Maybe we just need a younger person. I mean, I'm just kidding, Mark. I tried to put on the same page so everyone can
found out that it is a translation. Okay, we found out that it is a translation, guys. And in which case, well, I will say that it's probably not the most amazing translation. Okay, I would love someone who can speak Bahasa Indonesia to do this justice. Yeah, because I'm sure how we've done it so far, it's probably not where the actual writer was at. Yeah. So that's a tip also. If you're going to have your work translated, make sure it's that the translation is more than just a translation. Make sure it transliterates even the meaning and the intent. There you go.
I mean, it's hard enough that page poetry is a different beast, right? Translation is just doubles that.
I really respect a group of poets in Singapore who are working on translating poems, and they're trying to keep the meter as well as the intent to as closely to the original as possible.
It does say that he is the most revered Indonesian poet of the 20th century. So I'm glad that we didn't say it's that.
No. We all agree that we like it. We all agree that we like it. And
we would have to bring him back from the dead. We would have to get some sort of something going to bring him back to the dead and have him explain himself, and we could apologize. So I'm so glad we don't have to do that.
Well, the good part is that he continues, his poem continues to live, right? The fact that we're speaking about it, we're analyzing it, it's still relevant. So, props to him. His poem about death, it's living on in us.
I am curious to know if it, what the premise behind it is. I am
probably World War II.
There was a lot going on back then.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Quite a lot. All right.
Whatever was going on at that time politically, it seems like, with bullets piercing his skin and all the rest of it. It was 1943 he wrote it. So during the war, who knows what was going on, where he was.
All right, let's wrap it up in 60 seconds. If anyone else has anything else that they would like to add to this, and then we can rock and roll it all the way to the next show. Does anyone else want to add anything before we close tonight? All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and watching our show. We absolutely love you. Please make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and follow our channel. We are everywhere you can be digitally: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, hopefully coming to TikTok near you. Make sure, please, that you do support the platforms. We have so much going on. Poets Lighthouse tomorrow. Get on board with all the PGN things. Definitely from my panelists here at the Poets Reacts, we from the bottom of our heart, we thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Goodbye.